Never actually done a video like this, so I'm not sure how it's going to come out, but let's talk about positioning. Like, you're playing Dorado on, let's do defense. Defensive positioning makes more sense to me than offense does, because I think offense has a lot more leeway in how they want to approach. I think defense is all that matters. On this map in particular, and on most maps, you want to find the biggest choke that you have to deal with, right? So, like, in this map, it's this one, like, for the first point. This choke is the easiest spot for defense to hold by a long shot. So everything up here is kind of useless. Some pro teams like to dive on the cart at the beginning of the game. I think that it's dumb. I can go into more depth as to why it's dumb. But it's dumb, don't do it. It's not worth it. You want to just hold up here. Maybe this is like Gibraltar. Maybe this is the first point of Anubis. Maybe this is the fountain area of Kings Row. You just want someone to be patrolling this area at the beginning of the game, because you want to make sure that you have scouting information if someone comes out this way. You want to know if someone's flanking. You want to know if someone's going to go over the wall down there. And you just kind of want to know what their composition is when they turn the corner. So that's the first thing you want to think about. The second thing you want to think about is your composition. Like, you should have a Reinhardt, you should have a Zarya. This is more of a competitive thing. Like, I'll assume that your comp is good, not that you're running like random useless 76s and Hanzos and stuff. So, like, you want to just sit up here and make sure your Reinhardt shield doesn't die. Like, your Reinhardt shield should never die. You want to spam, spam, spam. Try to not... I mean, it's hard to spam against Ana, but you want to try to build your ult as fast as possible. This is for every hero, not just Genji. I'm just playing Genji because I can do this, so like it's more fun, honestly. Like, I can just run in circles. But this choke is your friend. Chokes on defense are your friend all the time. There's this choke and there's this choke. The good thing about this choke is that you know when they're coming from this choke because you'll see them from this choke. Like, the left side choke will show you if someone comes in on the right, like, unless they all flank from lower, but that should be kind of obvious. Sometimes teams will like split up half this way and half this way. The safest way to deal with that is to overload one choke. Like, maybe your whole team will collapse here, and that's how you do it. Maybe your whole team will collapse this way, and that's how you do it. Collapsing this way isn't as easy, I would say, because the defense or the team that's pushing can just fall down. There's a health pack down there. There's this corner to hide on. So I think pushing this way is a little bit harder. Pushing down this choke is definitely easier. And you just want to keep spamming. You always want to spam. Like, choke spam is the best thing. You want like a hero in the front, like a Reinhardt, like a Mei, like a Zarya that can just stop the cart and make sure that they can't do anything about it. Like, they need to kill a hero or two to get the cart to move, and that's all you want. Maybe like you have a McCree on your team. Your McCree is just sitting back here, just making sure nothing comes in for free. You have like a Mercy or a Zen or an Ana just like here or there, because you can shoot in this angle, this angle. Maybe you get like an Ana here. Maybe there's a Junkrat here. You just want to have control of the choke, and you don't want to open yourself up to be flanked. Like, flanking in this game is one of the easiest ways to die if you get caught by surprise. Like, a lot of teams in the pro scene right now will like throw a Winston over this roof, like over this ledge, and then how do you deal with that Winston? Like, you can't if you don't see it coming. Or Genji will like come this way and like spam you down. So like, someone should really be on this window, I would say, just making sure that they have vision, and it should be probably like a healer or someone that's going to be in the back line. Because again, like, getting shot in the back is a bad idea. So let's say they push through, and your team gets wiped. Ideally, you want to get wiped like here, like in this choke, if you're going to get wiped at all. Because at least you slow down the cart to where like the cart still has to walk this entire distance. And maybe you get like a 4K, maybe you trade 4 for 6, maybe you wipe them. But you want to always die on the cart. Like, if you're on defense and your team feeds on the cart, like, just go feed with them, you know? You never want to live if your teammates are all dead. Most times. Unless you're like coming out of spawn, stuff like that. If you see your Reinhardt, alright, this is like a pub thing that you can take out of this. If you see your Reinhardt, right, and your Reinhardt just like charges in like a bot and winds up on this wall, right, and you're playing Genji or McCree, and then suddenly the whole team, their whole team is just like, okay, free Reinhardt, and there's nothing you can do about it because it's just a Reinhardt feeding. The worst thing you can do is try to think to yourself that you can like beat, like that you can make up for that, right? Like your Reinhardt's dead, you're probably gonna lose the next fight. So if your Reinhardt feeds, you should just go feed with him, because worst case scenario, you team wipe. But best case scenario is you don't team wipe with the cart like slowly moving up. And this is a mistake that a lot of people make, is they like try to overcompensate for their teammates. Like, okay, why are you guys up here spawn camping? Like, I don't know why you guys are spawn camping. I'm better than this. I can go back this way and hold. But that's wrong, because if you do that, then like your teammates are gonna die, and then suddenly you're gonna have to fight 3v6. So you might as well go help your bots, because if your bots are up here and you're trying to like play the smart game and like hold up on the roof and stuff, like you don't want to do that. So that's like a positioning tip, I guess. Healers want to stay in the back. Defense or like DPS classes want to stay in a position where they can do damage but not die, and then tanks want to stay in a position where they can get healed and where their DPS heroes can like save them. But yeah, moral of the story is follow your bots, and yes, you're only as smart as your monkey player. And don't stagger deaths without dying on the cart. If you're gonna stagger deaths, do it on your cart. Because again, you want your team to wipe with the maximum stall on the cart. So like if you're a Lucio, say you're a Lucio, right, and your teammates all die here, and you're like maybe here or something. The worst thing you can do is try to live, and like maybe you'll wall ride up here, maybe you'll like try to come up here and like slow down the cart later. You want to just go into the cart immediately and get back to your team that's dead in spawn, and then like have the speed boost there to get them. Okay, so let's say you lost this point, right? You lost this point and your teammates are backing out because they didn't die on the cart, and you're like, shit guys, what's happening? And then they're getting chased back this way. You need to just let them die, just accept your fate. Like, you just lost 3 people because they got chased down the streets because they didn't die on the cart. And maybe you just came out of spawn, you're here, and you're like, okay guys, we can't actually do anything. So like the best thing you can do is just like sit on the staircase and wait. You need 6 people all the time. Like if you don't have 6 people on defense, the game is just hard. So on this map and on most maps, you want to just control the high ground. The interesting or like the beneficial thing about Dorado is that this high ground's pretty hard to take if you don't have it already. Like if a team rolls you so hard that they control this high ground at the beginning of the fight, like the game is just it's just an uphill battle from there. So you want to like control here. This corner is your friend. This ledge is your friend. The church health pack is your friend. You have good vision up here. You can see if someone comes here. You can hear footsteps if someone's in church, and you'll more than likely see someone trying to flank you from the bank. Sometimes you'll get flanked from here, but you'll know if you're missing 5 or 6 people. Can you teach us how to take high ground on offense? You generally need the right composition, and this is where pubs get really hard. Dorado is probably one of the easier maps to hold on defense if you have like competent teammates that you can like coach. Because if you try to like push up here, you probably want a Genji. I would say Genji is a safe bet. Tracer's not the worst because Tracer can flank through the stairs. Winston's not awful. So you want like dive comp. You can do like a Pharah if you're really feeling a Pharah. But most times what's going to happen is you want to get a comp, or like the alternative is you want to get a comp that can like force them to fight on the cart. And then that. You might want to explain what to do with high ground. I think lower ranked players don't usually know what to do. Just sit there. Okay, so let's say that they cap the first point and you're on defense. This is a hypothetical situation. You have 6 teammates, right? 6 teammates on your team. You have some ults, maybe not all 6. You just have like 4 or 5 ults. Maybe you have Graviton, you have Speed Boost. You don't have Sound Barrier, but you have like Earth Shatter, maybe Nano Boost. You want your teammates here, and the second the cart gets like here-ish, the spot is pretty good, I would say. Maybe here even. Once the cart gets here, like in this area, you want to dive bomb your entire team onto the cart and just take a fight and use your positional advantage to like get your ults in better spots. So like maybe your Reinhardt's up here, he'll drop and he'll hit his Earth Shatter because he's able to fall in the right spot. Maybe your Zarya's up here and she can just jump and hit a good Graviton because she could just see it, you know? Like, you have better positioning up here. Some heroes don't ever want to fall. If you're McCree, like, don't fall. If you're not a hero that can really fight, don't fall. If you're a Mercy, you don't really want to fall. You can heal from up here. If you're a Zenyatta, you can heal from up here. You can also drop down in Transcendence from up here. If you need to hit a flashbang as McCree, like you can fall down. Like maybe you've already killed 1 or 2 people, you can fall down. But after you win this fight or lose this fight, the reason why you want to fight here is because if you die, like your whole team dies, you'll have time to get back to this spot before the cart caps. If you guys die there and they push up, the cart will be about like here when you all spawn. So you'll have time for 1 more fight. And generally when you lose fights, it's because you didn't have ults, or like you had less ults than they did. And so for this next fight, ideally you'll have the ult advantage. You won't really have the positional advantage. Maybe like the McCree can try to get up top. Like someone should probably always try to get up top just so you don't get flanked. You don't want the enemy team up on this high ground at any time. Just makes the game harder. Because once you have control of the high ground, you're pushing this way. Like you have to come through this door or this door, and it's just a lot easier. But yeah, take fights so you can get a second chance at defense. Maybe you get a 3rd time. But you want to take a fight before the cart gets up the street, because the cart has so much, like this is a lot of time. Like it takes a long time for the cart to like waltz up this entire stretch to here. So like if you want to take as many fights as you can when the cart's still here all the time. And that, like, this happens on Numbani, this will happen on King's Row. The same idea, you know, like you want to take a fight as close to the enemy spawn as you can when you're on defense, just so you can slow them down. If you have a Mei, like that's why Mei is so good right now, because if you fight here with Mei and you get like a good ult, like you'll win the fight all the time. You can always ult the cart. Like you can always slow down the cart with your ult. You can slow down the cart with your ice block. You can slow down the cart with your ice walls. Like there's so many good reasons to pick Mei and Zarya right now that's why like those heroes are meta on defense. Because it's not so much about winning on defense, it's about getting the best time and trying to stall out the game. But like sometimes you'll just win, and that's more or less the way the game works. So again, like you want like your Reinhardt up here, you want your McCree up here, you want your Zenyatta up here. Oh yeah, okay, so let's talk about that too. If your teammates, say you're the McCree up here and you have a Mercy, not a Mercy, let's say you have a Zenyatta and an Ana, and your Zarya falls off, maybe your Reaper gets hooked and dies. You want to just suicide everyone. Like just go. Just like you lost 2 people, you're not going to win a fight. You don't have ults, so you can't win the fight. You didn't try to take the fight. Like the fight's at a disadvantage and it's like super bad. Like maybe it's 3v6. And you don't have like Graviton, Nano Boosted Death Blossom or something. So like you don't want to try to live, because maybe they have a Genji, maybe they have a Winston. If you die here, if you die right here as a Lucio, and the cart is rolling while you're dying, that's really bad, because you could have just been here and you would have died on the cart and it would have been fine. I mean, if you can get out, like if you're a Lucio and you can speed boost out, or you're a Genji, you can dash out back to spawn, like go for it. But if you're a McCree and you're someone that's just really not going to live, like it's better for you to go in and get a kill than it, because like best case scenario, you're a McCree, right? And you get a kill, like maybe you kill the enemy Reinhardt somehow. You like fall off and it's like you're like 1v4 right now. Maybe 2 people on their team are pushed up and you just somehow snipe the Reinhardt. You're gonna die, the cart won't have moved at all, and then when you get back to the fight over here, maybe they still don't have their Reinhardt. Like they're cocky and they're like, okay, they have ×5 on the cart, but now you spawn with your team and you have ×6 alive and they don't have their Reinhardt because you got that last kill. Does that make sense? So getting those trades when you're at a disadvantage is a huge boost. If you watch the FaZe versus Reunited VOD that I put up, it's in the E-League playlist. You'll see where Too Easy gets a kill on Reinforce. Like at the end of a fight, it's just him versus like 4 people. And they wind up winning the point because Reinforce doesn't get back to the fight before Too Easy does. If your teammates aren't listening to you though, like you can't actually get them to coordinate this shit, like You want to generally use like 2 or 3 ults at a time on defense. Like you want to take the initiative on defense. You don't want to ever be the team that ults in response. Like you want to use sound barrier when you can get it on 6 people. You want to graviton if you can hit a 3 or 4 man hole. You want to nano boost aggressively. You want the offense to feel like they're on defense. If you can do that, you win the game. Like defense is just offense on the other side. All we have been going over is if whole teams use it. Well, sometimes a struggle for as a McCree should be on the first point. What should I be looking for? You wanna, you just wanna position yourself behind your Reinhardt like all the time. Like if you're playing a DPS class that like has range, you wanna position yourself behind the Reinhardt. If you're playing a hero like Tracer, you wanna like put yourself in a position where you can be annoying but you won't die. Tracer dead is the worst hero in the game. Like Tracer with half health is the worst hero in the game. You want to be a Tracer at full health, constantly abusing health packs. Health packs are your friends always. Most times you don't ever want to be in this courtyard unless you're like pushing and you're going for like some flank. McCrees should abuse high ground. Genjis should abuse walls and corners. Like, just put yourself in the best spot where you can do damage and not take it. I mean, and that's really as simple as this game is you want to put yourself in a position where you can do damage and not take damage. So, as far as McCree, like high ground is always good for McCree because McCree doesn't have a jump. Like McCree can't climb walls and shit. So, a McCree up here has a better angle against the McCree down there. Like a McCree down here has to shoot up and like maybe you only see the head a little bit. But McCree up here has like all of this angle to shoot down on and like, just like peek, has positional. So like you always want to take high ground. How do I know those spots? What do you mean what spots? Like if you have, say you're like holding first point. If your Reinhardt's like here, or like here, you just want to like put yourself somewhere where he's blocking you and you have a corner to peek. You always want to have a corner to peek. I don't care what hero you're playing, you always want to have a corner to deal with. Like you always need a safety valve. Like if you're a McCree and you can position yourself right here, go for it. Because like if you take damage, you can just sidestep and you won't take any more damage. Like you always want to have some way to block damage that doesn't rely on another hero. So like maybe they're pushing this way, you want to stand right here because if you get shots off, like peek, take a shot, peek, take a shot, peek, take a shot. Like corners are your friends because they allow you to heal. And if a team has to push through the choke, they can't corner peek. Genji, like you get a kill, you want to like climb the wall and shit, like make them have to aim and shit and like not be able to kill you. Like it's a lot harder to aim straight up than it is for you to aim down. Like always have a corner. Like you want to poke, get back, maybe you did 100 damage to someone, just go, just kill him, you know? So like always play the corners. Every hero should play the corners. Tracer should play the corners. Winston should always play the corners. I don't care what hero you're on. Like always play the corners. Like you're McCree peeking, okay, corner, corner, corner. Like if he wants to shoot, he has to stand in the open, like you have the advantage, like corner. They're trying to push the cart, you have this wall, corner. Like this is a corner, just like use it. Okay, so now they cap this point, right? Generally speaking, you don't want to ever fight in this area. It's hard. You don't want to wipe in this area either because it's very easy to get in the enemy spawn. Like once you wipe there, the cart gets through this corner pretty fast, and then sometimes teams will like get positional advantage here with like 2 or 3 players, and then you wind up in a very difficult position. Ideally for defense, you want like to hold up here if you can. It's a lot easier. Teams will like slow push the cart. If you have ults, you should again be using your ults aggressively because you want them to get pushed back here. Because if they get pushed back into this area, if they're like on the cart, then that's really good for you because you have the high ground again and you can abuse the high ground. Like you have, like this is another corner, peek, peek, like stuff like that. Even up here, you can like peek. You can spam down this way if they try to come up from left. If they come from left, you should know because you'll see them because like you have this blast and stuff. You really don't want to die. Like, this is where the game gets dicey, is like when the cart gets like here. Because this is when you should be falling because you want enough time for you to get back to the cart if you all wipe, so you can like farm them there. But what happens on this map a lot is teams on offense will lose a fight or two, and the card will get stuck like in this spot right here. It's like the hardest spot to push because it's just so narrow. Like you can just spam down, you can spam down. Maybe you have like a Mei up here, Mei's just spamming, Zarya spamming, McCree spamming. Like there's another corner for you to peek. Yada yada. You can high noon from up here. Your Reinhardt can stand up here. Not much can contest. You can put a Mei wall here and block them in. You can put a Mei wall down there. You can blizzard the cart here. Mei's really good. But again, like abuse the corners and abuse the high ground and always abuse the high ground. Like the only thing you can do on defense, the easiest thing for you to do on defense is to abuse the high ground. In pubs, it's a little hard. Like you'll see me go tracer a lot because I feel like my teammates are just like bots and they're all standing right here. Like, what am I doing? But if you stand right here and the enemy team comes from up there, suddenly you're just getting farmed because they have this corner and like they have the high ground, they have like this ledge, they have all this shit. So pretty much like defense is all about taking aggressive fights and offense is all about knowing when you lost. If your teammates are dead, if you have like 2 people dead on offense, you generally don't want to ult ever. Like generally defense should have to ult to win fights, and if you can lose fights without using ults and come back with more ults later, that's the ideal scenario. Obviously it's not that simple. Sometimes you'll have a pubber on your team that like just doesn't save his ult. But like say you have 3 people, maybe you go in and your Zenyatta dies immediately. At that point, you should just be trying to take a dry push where you just try to speed boost it and get kills. Like maybe you get 2 kills and then you can Graviton, but maybe your whole team dies and then you just come back with Graviton. But maybe you force them to use Sound Barrier, maybe you force them to use Death Loss, and maybe they Ana ult out of like panic. That's like the ideal scenario for you. So like you want to take dry pushes when you're down a player. You want to take dry pushes when you know that the ults are even. If you maybe just like lost a fight, or maybe you won a fight, but you had to use like 4 ults, so you know that the next fight the defense has all of their ults and you're gonna lose it. You should be trying to take a push, like a dry push, which means you don't have any ults. You just go in and you speed boost in. Maybe you trade 1 ult, like maybe you speed boost in and you Dragon Blade. And you're like, okay, Dragon Blade, and then suddenly when you pop this Dragon Blade, like their Zenyatta's like, oh shit, and their Zenyatta hits Q, and then maybe at the same time their Lucio panics, and then their Lucio hits Q, and then now they're down Transcendence and they're down Sound Barrier, and like the next push is the one you should be trying to win on, not that one, because like you should be like, that's a really good trade. You just traded Dragon Blade for Transcendence and Sound Barrier, or you traded Dragon Blade for Sound Barrier and Nano Boost. That's like the best thing you can do. Sometimes in VODs, even like on streams, people will be like, oh my god, he wasted the Dragon Blade, but like he didn't really waste the Dragon Blade. Like it was just a good trade. Like he used the Dragon Blade to force the defense's reaction, and that's that. I think a good way for you to do this might be reviewing your own POV VOD. Maybe, but I don't play much McCree in VODs, but I can do it another day. Does dry push a turn from MOBAs? I don't think so. I think it's just, I don't know, people came up with it in Overwatch somehow. But yeah, any questions before this skirmish ends in 5 minutes? Because I don't know what else to talk about. I'm just trying to give a very broad overview, I guess. Another reason why Mei is so good is because like if it's 1v6 as Mei, you can stall for I think like 10 seconds or something. You wouldn't dry post. Yeah, you would never dry push in MOBAs. That's not a thing. New map. It's 1 o'clock. I have to go to bed, but I'll do more tomorrow if you guys want at the end of the stream or something. How do you play flankers differently on attack versus defense for payload? I would say defense, you have to be more calculated. Like a death on defense is a huge problem. A death on offense isn't the end of the world, but it's also like, you always, like offense and defense flankers, there's not really much of a difference. you just want to abuse health packs as a flanker. You want to always know where a health pack is, and you always want a direct line of sight to a health pack. So like say I'm a tracer, right, and I'm like coming up this way, I blink in, and suddenly I'm like poking here, then McCree shoots me, just go get the health pack. Like health packs on McCree and health packs on Genji are just worth so much because of how survivable the heroes are. So I mean Genji's just the most mobile. I guess Tracer with blinks, but you can get high ground with Genji, which is why I like no cooldown Genji. But yeah, that is that. I'm gonna kill the VOD.